Carroll was in the White House at that time, and we embarked on that endeavor, and believe me, made history unbelievable. We became the arsenal of democracy, it was called, because while we weren't actively engaged in the war, we had to provide the Allies with the weaponry and hardware, and we had to begin to transpose our civilian industry into military hardware. And places like Ford Motor Company and all the aircraft manufacturers in Southern California had to produce, and from ships to airplanes to tanks. And at that time, speaking of tanks, I grew up in western Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area, and I was, as a teenager, I would first entered college at 16 in 1938, and I went to a state school in Virginia where I was born because of the finances. I mean, I couldn't go to other schools, and of course, had to work, 1 year and find a job in school and work maybe in the steel mill and in alternate years. So it was really hard times. But then with the advent of our entry into the conflict had a really problem in getting into combat, getting a chance to fight. And I've made notations here that we had to fight for the right to fight with less than the latest weaponry, fight to prove after having fought, then fight to prove that we did fight. This was really factual history. When we came back from making a terrific record of escorting bombers in Europe, and came back to the United States in 1945, and to no fanfare. We didn't have ticker tape parades in New York or nothing, and we came back to the same old segregation and discrimination and so forth that we had experienced prior to that time. And then, now I'm talking 1945. Finally, in 1972, now you know how many years in between there, in Detroit, a little girl was in elementary school, and the teacher was teaching about World War II and our involvements and so forth. The little girl raised her hand to say that her father was in World War II as a pilot. And she was dressed down by the teacher and said, oh my God, no, there wasn't any blacks flying in airplanes with you. So they just ignored her, and she was so embarrassed and so on, went home and crying and told her father, and brought her father to the school. And I don't know, he had some kind of uniform or something, and they still wouldn't accept it, wouldn't accept that. So we formed an organization in 1972 in Detroit, the Tuskegee Airmen. And from that lowly beginning, now we have almost 50 chapters around the country and also overseas. And we offer scholarships and blah, blah, blah. We have unbelievable. We have an annual convention each year. I just left one in San Antonio, and hope you're familiar with that. That was our 39th annual convention. We'll have the 40th one next year in Washington, D.C. at the Gaylord Hotel, August the 4th. But I'm hop, skipping, and jumping. I hope you'll excuse that because
that's going to happen. Can we take a minute and have Alan watch the show?
Certainly. Let's do that, and so maybe you can get some of the